Hey, Glenn Plomchok, Senior Account Executive for WorkJam here at the Qualtrics X4 event. So as far as kind of what I'm seeing and hearing from folks and attendees here this week, I agree, a lot of energy. Folks are pretty excited about all the different things, and kind of the layout's been great for us. We've had a lot of traffic, number one. But just seeing a lot of people that are really curious as to kind of how we help kind of close the action loop with Qualtrics, either from an employee EX perspective or from a customer CX perspective. So for us, it's been great to educate people about what we do and the platform that we offer. But I think they've also been really open to hearing about different ideas of ways that they can take the power of Qualtrics and work with another partner to even make the solution stickier within their organizations, but also get more data out of the surveys that they're doing with folks.
Hi, my name's Phil. I'm a partner at Bain & Company, and we're here at X4 2026. So this week, the conversations that we've been having are all about value and growth. And what we're seeing both in the conversations here and with my clients is CX leaders just trying to figure out how do we take all the insights that we have and turn them into growth engines for their organizations. What you see behind me is a board of all the top growth priorities that the folks that stop past the Bain booth are talking about. And what you're gonna see in here is lots of conversation about reducing churn, trying to make sure that those clients that they've invested so much to get are staying with them longer. You're also seeing a lot of conversations about improving the quality of service, leveraging artificial intelligence to help them do that. But not only the quality, it's also the cost, and trying to reduce the cost while maintaining the customer experience. Yesterday afternoon, I spent some time with a large group here at the conference, and what we were talking about was the 5X growth effect, which is really this idea that we now understand the power of referrals. And what we know now from the data is that about 20% of your customers come through a referral. But over 3 years, those customers deliver about 45% of the value and nearly 3/4 of the profit. And so if you think about which customers you want to acquire, you really want to make sure that those customers that are coming to you from referrals are the ones that you convert and then look after, because they turn out to be really valuable.
All right, so we're going to close in on you and pick one random feedback and you're going to comment on it.
Okay, go for
All right,
it.
here we go. Make their ROI for Gen AI.
Oh, very interesting.
Where do you land on that, Phil, from Bain & Company?
Yeah. So we are incredibly excited about AI, and I think what we're talking about is this idea of practical solutions that deliver real value for both customers and companies. And one of the things that we're really seeing is, there's been a lot of talk about specific use cases. And when we think about delivering real ROI from AI, you have to think about domains of activity that you can transform end to end, which really elevates the customer experience and takes a lot of the complexity out for the company. And that's when you start to see the faster growth rates and the lower costs from the investments you're making in AI.
So Katie and I gave a presentation about a new app that we're launching in the Qualtrics marketplace that natively connects Qualtrics to AEP. And with that connection, customers can now connect their Qualtrics data right into AEP and get real-time insights and take real-time action in tools like Adobe Journey Optimizer and Adobe Target. It's really exciting because a lot of our clients do this manually and they end up with tightly wound bespoke solutions. And so we're building something that is there for the long term. I've done some speaking engagements before, and I've usually get 1 or 2 questions, but this time we had a line out and we were like bumped because the next speaker behind us was coming in. and then here even the Qualtrics reps came up and said, hey, this is groundbreaking, this is first to market, we need to talk immediately. So that really changed my thought on what's going on, and I think we're glad to be here.
Yeah, I would say what we've seen, not only just from the questions that we received, but just overall from the clients that we work with, is that how do they really action that experience data that they're capturing? And that's the biggest challenge, is they get a lot of informative or trend and track measures. And we feel that really connecting these two together is you begin to be able to automate the actions in a way that is not so manual, and so you can automate the right type of actions to drive the right type of behaviors to, of course, drive business growth. And then ultimately, you can really decide when you want to bring a human in the loop. So it really allows you to begin closing the loop, begin driving action, and automate where you can.
Hi, I'm Danny Dudek from Qualtrics, and this is Lauren Rios from Qualtrics. And we are here at the Qualtrics X4 conference this week. And something that we've been hearing a lot from our clients and also just folks that are in attendance is the fact that they are having a really difficult time connecting the dots across their organization. So one part of the organization might be listening to, let's just use healthcare as an example, to patients about their billing experience. But another one might actually be listening to their patients digitally. And yet they're looking at the data in silos and not actually bringing it together to understand how they can connect the dots and address the problems holistically. So Lauren is over here, and she's going to share a little bit about a solution that we've come up with and partnered with Qualtrics to actually help solve this problem.
Yeah, perfect.
Over to
Thank
you.
So we actually just launched the RevX solution on the Qualtrics platform, which actually solves the problem that Danny just described. So it connects the dots across 9 areas of the healthcare journey into one very quick, easy solution. We typically call it the easy button that you're going to press, and it deploys all of the surveys across the platform, generates a dashboard for you to easily solve kind of that issue of breaking down those silos that we so often see in the healthcare space. And I would say more than the healthcare space, kind of across industry, every industry faces that issue. So yeah. Right. I think the biggest challenge that we're seeing with clients today is the rapid evolution of AI. There's so much pressure to implement AI, but no one really knows the best way to do that, to solve for that. What is their exact need? You're not just putting in AI to put it in. We need to think through the best way that we can solve that for our clients.
Yeah, and as a CX leader, I think the biggest thing that we're hearing from them in terms of what they're trying to solve for and having difficulty doing is actually the return on investment. This is not new, but it is something that continues to happen. How do you create a value ledger for the different, I would say, activities that are happening across the company that can tie back to what the CX team is actually providing in terms of insights?
At Qualtrics, we've often worked on this framework that we've worked with all of you in the community of we help you listen, we help you understand, and then act. And we've done it ourselves with what we're doing at X4. There was so much feedback that came in from X4 2025. And we took that feedback and said, listen, we're going to completely change the curriculum, what it is we're doing at the event. Okay, so what did we change? First and foremost, what we heard from all of you is you wanted real customers, talking about real products with real usage and real business outcomes. So for me, the greatest satisfaction, like the greatest aha that I'm getting at the event this week is listening to these customers sharing the incredible business outcomes that they're getting by building these CX programs. True Green, their chief financial officer, is going to be on stage and going to talk about how, as a CFO, he sees the customer experience program as a revenue generator and a place that actually drives the bottom and the top line. That is, I think, one of the challenges that every CX leader in the world has, is making sure that they can demonstrate and prove the value that they're creating, and it's all based in terms of business outcomes. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I'm most proud of in terms of what we've done is we've really worked hard over the last year to just dramatically simplify the time and the effort to get some of the things on Qualtrics deployed. So gone are these days where there are these massive, year-long projects. We're now seeing organizations being able to deploy incredibly powerful omni-channel text analytics and doing it in weeks and not months. And so it really is about how, seeing the innovations that we've done that allow organizations to very, very quickly get value, prove value, and then prove themselves inside of their companies. I think the biggest challenges that organizations will continue to face are going to be focused on 2 things. The one is culture. The organizations that are the leaders in really taking advantage of customer experience to drive their business have a culture where the customer experience is part of the celebration and the reward system. And so that is a struggle that organizations will have, and these CX leaders that I meet with, for 2 or 3 days straight here, I hear that as a very, very common thing. Okay, so how do you solve that? We have to be able to show the business outcomes. And so this is why it's so important to be able to take in all of the different channels, understand that, mix that with your operational data, because if you're going to show business outcomes, it's not just the X data. You have to pull the operational and the X data together and then reason over both of them, because that's how you're able to show what those outcomes are. Then the second thing that I would say is just getting the internal approvals that organizations need in order to bring all the data in that they want to use.
The regulatory landscape, especially nowadays with the advent of AI, is going to change drastically in the next few years. How many years? Nobody knows. It can be a year, it can be 5 years. But what we do know is that we want it to be broad. We want it to solve the big issues that we have with an eye to build trust into the environment and allow companies to innovate and move fast. So broad control sets that solve a problem, understanding that there is an innovation gap and that the speed of innovation in this environment is really important, and allowing companies to do that work. And really bridging the current situation where regulated entities don't have a roadmap, or have a roadmap but they're afraid of what will happen when regulations come in, to the place where they are clear on what is expected of them and they're able to continue driving AI adoption.
Our PGA Tour Fan Council is so important for us because it's the best way that fans can engage and have their voice heard directly by the PGA Tour. It started as just understanding a need to have an avenue to listen to our fans. This is almost 10 years ago now. It's grown by, I think, the value proposition that we offer. You know, we get it out there any way that we can so that fans are able to find it. But I think then fans stick around, and it grows because they feel like when they give us input and they give us feedback that we actually do something about it and share back with them that their voice was heard and that it matters in this process. We hope that's the feeling that they have, is that I'm somebody that's actually giving my information and helping make the PGA Tour products and experiences better by participating in this.
Today's session, I talked about scaling AI and scaling it through the lens of operations. And so some of the key things that we talked about and double down on is that the fact that automation doesn't remove the idea of accountability, and that accountability in this space becomes even more important and critical. And so it actually concentrates the accountability piece when we're thinking about implementing AI and anything that we're trying to do. The other piece that, as well, that I covered is the importance of human in the loop and the feedback loop, which I think is just as critical in the times before AI, but even more so in the time we're in with AI. And so establishing a good rhythm, a feedback loop that could ensure that you're alerting on the right things at the right time in a very timely manner, so we could take action on it. And the concept that I continue to say is that, you know, if you're alerting on everything, you're alerting on nothing. And if you alert on something with no action, then it's just noise. The core sentiment that I got from this session was, you know, you talked about something that was actionable and I could take back and actually implement, versus this high level, you know, concept of technology and the new AI, the new technology, and sometimes talking about the process and the fundamentals of how to operationalize isn't the most I guess the shiny new object, if you will, but it's something that's critical to the business. And so some of the questions we got were around, you know, how do we create these LLMs to produce a confidence level, so we could ensure that we're baking that into our workflows so we could alert on the right things. And so being able to walk through that with them, and they were all very interested, and you know, even multiple folks asked for pictures and the slides. And so I think the big takeaway for me is that I felt like everyone was engaged and excited about the concept of operationalizing AI, and having non-technical folks have some skin in the game to help deliver and drive AI to where it needs to be.